Well, good afternoon and a very warm welcome back to the channel. Those of you that watch regularly will know that I recently part exchanged my BMW R1250 GS Adventure for a brand new 2022 K1600 GT SE. And I've been lucky enough to be contacted by the largest supplier of aftermarket accessories for BMW motorcycles in the UK, Nippy Normans, and asked me if I'd like to make a list and produce some videos on accessory fitting to the K1600. So that's okay with me. This is the first of probably 5 accessory fitting videos. I'll leave a link down below as to where you can get these from, and I'll put them all together as well into a K1600 GT accessory fitting playlist so that you can have a look at them one after the other if you like. I'll probably also reference them on some cards up in the top left hand corner here occasionally so that you can sort of put all of those together. Before we get out and fit it onto the bike, and the first one we're going to do is the Wunderlich Side Stand Enlarger, we'll just go through the unpacketing of it so that you can see what actually comes in the pack. Now, Side Stand Enlarger for me, I've had them on every bike that I've had from BMW because the footprint of the side stand tends to be relatively small. And of course, if you pull up on gravel or you pull up on a verge and relatively soft ground, or perhaps you even in the UK this year with it being so hot and sunny, and that's not a joke, you pull up onto soft tarmac, then you could obviously come back and find your motorcycle on its side, particularly when it's a K1600 weighing in at about 320 kilos, I think, off the top of my head. So a good purchase is a side stand enlarger, and the one that Nippy Normans supplies for the K1600 after 2017 and including the new 2022 model is the Wunderlich one from Germany. So let's have a look to see what we've got in the packet. So it arrives in a fairly innocuous packet like so. And inside that packet, we've got 2 lots of instructions. There's a completely typed list of multinational instructions there, which I suspect have some indemnifications in there as well, that if you're not competent to fit this, you should get it fitted professionally. And then I think it's probably 6 language pictorial instructions, which I think are probably ones that most people will follow. Inside the unit itself, we get a bag of fitting hardware, and the fitting hardware couldn't be too much simpler. We have 3 stainless steel Torx countersunk screws and 3 aluminium countersunk washers. We'll see how they go when we go to fit them on the bike. And we also have a small tube of Loctite because these aren't going to be done up particularly tightly, and it helps to make sure they retain, keep fastened. And of course we have the main item, the actual side stand enlarger itself. And if we take a look at that, you can see it's machined to the shape of the side stand on the K1600, and I'm hoping when we come to fit that on the bike that will be relatively tight and a good fit. Even if it's not completely interference fit, then it does have a foam pad in the bottom of here. And obviously once we put the side stand in here and then fit the washer that overhangs the side and a screw in, that's all going to be pressed down against this foam washer, and that will help to make sure that this doesn't rattle in any way. So it's well thought of. I'm also going to probably just coat that inside with a little bit of ACF 50. That's not because this is going to corrode, because this is actually made of an aluminium alloy and is very, very nicely made, I have to say. But it's because the stand itself is steel, and of course having been used that will already be grazed on the bottom, and that will just help to prevent any rust and anodization within the well there of the side stand enlarger. The side stand enlarger, importantly, doesn't interfere with the side stand returning into its fully parked position, and that's very important both up and down, because of course there is a switch on the BMW which will stop the bike starting if the bike thinks the side stand is down or in fact not into an up position. So it's very important that your side stand enlarger doesn't interfere with it. It's black coloured, so obviously it's the same colourway as the stand itself, so it should fairly well match in, and it's got the Wunderlich branding on the side there. Anyway, enough of the packaging of what we've got. There it all sits on the bench. Let's get out to the bike and fit it. Okay, so here we are out with the motorcycle, a K1600GT. Please excuse the top box. We have supply issues apparently in Germany, and despite the fact the bike took 10 weeks to get here, the top box is going to take about another 6 to 8 weeks to arrive. So I've actually borrowed one for a tour I'm doing to France next week. But I thought before I fitted the Nippy Normans supplied Wunderlich Side Stand Enlarger that I'd actually give you some idea of how you get a 320 kilo motorcycle onto its centre stand, because unless you've got a friend that can sit on the bike while you lift it off the centre stand or off the side stand, you're going to need to put it onto the centre stand. And actually it's always been thus. It's not a particularly difficult task, and it's more a case of technique than actual physical ability. So let me just show you quickly on this. As I say, 320 kilos of motorcycle. So you just push down your foot onto the centre stand and then rock the bike centrally so that it's physically on both feet of the centre stand. Get a good grip on the handlebar and a good grip on the rail, and then it's more a matter of standing on the centre stand peg and pulling backwards, like so. So whilst it was some physical use, it is actually not a particularly difficult job to lift a 320 kilo motorcycle onto its centre stand. Anyway, let's get on with fitting the side stand enlarger. Okay, so here we are out by the bike with the side stand down. First thing I'm going to do is actually wipe the bottom of the side stand just to make sure that there's no grit or anything else on the bottom of there. As I said to you, I'm going to spray a little ACF 50 into the puck here and just spread that around. That'll just help to keep the corrosion on the bottom of the stand there from spreading too much. What I'm then going to do with the first one is I'm going to take the lid off my Loctite that Wunderlich supply and put a small amount on the screw. Get my first dished washer. Obviously it only goes in one way, so it's countersunk screw and a countersunk washer. And in fact with this first one we should be able to run that all the way up without it even on the side stand, and this should help us in a moment. Then I'll get the second screw and put some Loctite on like so, and another dished washer, and get my 25 Torx bit on. Now you can see here that I can just get that over the lip like so and still get the puck in place, and then we should, oops, always one that drops, there we go. And now if I get that one in finger tight, it should hold the puck in place like so. And we just take the last one and add some, it's not huge amounts in here, but then you don't need much on any of the screws, to be honest, just enough to hold them. And then I'll put that into the back one like so. So if we now get our ratchet, little quarter drive one, so we don't need much torque on these at all really, and just pinch them up like so. And then I'm probably going to need to get a key for this last one, but I'll do it in as far as I can, and I'll do that in a second, so I'll just get a key to finish that off. So there is the side stand enlarger fitted to the K1600. If you've liked this video, give it a thumbs up, that always helps. If you want to see more of these types of videos, then subscribe, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks a lot for watching.